should have mentioned this in the last episode, but my championship bowling did not only come with the sleeve, you know. See, it was like $8. The game, the whole little package, you know, came with the sleeve and the manual, you know. Charlie Sheen once again. No, probably not actually him, but you know, hey, I've mentioned that many times. That actually looks like him. I want to point something out here. If I can find the page in here. Here we are. Now it says, you know, right here, this is the ideal strike, and it also says many other combinations are possible for a strike. However, these other combinations require more luck than skill. The key to getting consistent strikes is targeting your shot on the strike zone, which, as I mentioned before in the last episode, one of my problems with this game is that the pin physics aren't RNG enough. And while I still kind of, you know, stand by what I said, at the same time, may have sound a little like kind of rude to this game, and I use the term rude loosely because it's not a sentient being, but yeah, Championship Bowling I still think is a really fun game, and I do really recommend it for its price. You know, Championship Bowling's good stuff. But anyways, let's move on to some games. How about a 2015 game here? Well, no, it did not come out in 2015, but I bought it in 2015. Soul Calibur 2 for the GameCube. Now, as you guys know, the GameCube is my favorite system, yada yada yada, but even though it is my favorite system, I don't pick up games for it terribly often, because I'm pretty happy with the collection, even though there's still a lot of games I want to get for it. But this was definitely, you know, a must-get, because this was one of the few GameCube games I owned when the GameCube was commercially relevant, like when you can like still buy it in stores and whatnot. And yeah, it kind of holds a special place in my heart for that, and also being the first kind of one-on-one fighter that I ever played. Now, the first fighting game I played was most likely Super Smash Bros. Melee, but this was definitely the first like one-on-one kind of style. I mean, yeah, of course you can have one-on-one battles in Melee, but I'm talking, you know, this kind of stuff. You know, the most familiar, real familiar kind of way of fighting games, you know? And Soul Calibur 2 is freaking awesome, you know. I loved it back then, and I still love it now. It, you know, really holds up, just from gameplay, music, just everything. And, you know, of course, the GameCube version is the best one, because it's got Link from Legend of Zelda, where, you know, the Xbox had Spawn, and the PS2, I think, had Heihachi. I don't even know what the hell the character's name was, but I believe he was a Tekken character. Probably should have looked that up before I made this, but still, Soul Calibur 2, just awesome fucking game. You know, like, and yeah, you know, I don't know what much else to say. It's probably my favorite Soul Calibur game, though I have not played Soul Calibur 3, 5, or Soul Blade or Soul Edge, or whatever that one was called. It was on the PS1. I believe that was really the first game in the series. I don't know. But yeah, still, Soul Calibur 2, awesome stuff. So now for some 2016 games. Purchases, I should say. Here we have River Raid and Pitfall for the Atari 2600. These are awesome to have, because these are two games I've been looking for a while. And these are kind of games that, I guess, are some of the handful of Atari 2600 games that kind of fall into the, you know, sort of in-demand category, or at the very least, they're not as common as, say, I don't know, like Yar's Revenge, Asteroids Defender, and stuff like that. Because, you know, I mean, while all those games are, like, you know, well-known, I mean, these are, you know, these are special, you know, because River Raid right here was, you know, if it will focus, was designed by Carol Shaw. Carol Shaw is an interesting little fellow, because she was the first female video game developer, or at least is thought to be. This was not her first game. Her first game, I believe, was a 3D tic-tac-toe. But regardless, this game is freaking awesome. you know, as you may know, you fly down a river, you shoot stuff, rack up the highest points, but at the same time you have to keep your fuel up, so there's a bit of strategy there. And as a result, this is really a really fun, you know, strategic sort of point scoring game, and I love River Raid. It's great stuff. There's a sequel too, I believe, also on the 2600 that I should probably get. Unless the sequel is bad, I don't know. Here we have Pitfall, you know? One thing about Activision Atari 2600 games is that the labels seem to oxidize a lot, because, goddamn, holy shit, look at that. It's like, what the fuck? But anyways, Pitfall, you know, again, another classic. I probably didn't enjoy this as much as I thought I would, but I'm not belittling the game. It's a classic, and it still is a pretty fun game. But, you know, Pitfall 2 definitely looks better. Of course, you know, this is miles better than Super Pitfall. But still, you know, it's a classic. You know, you're going around collecting all the treasures, and it's still really fun. It just, you know, yeah. I'll have to beat it sometime, though. But, hey, it's great to finally have Pitfall. More 2016 purchases, because the last one is going to be 2015. Tin head for the Sega Genesis. As you can see, you got the box and the cartridge. No manual, unfortunately. As you can see here, no manual, but hey. Now, what can I say about Tin head for the Genesis? Well, it's a platformer, and kind of an annoying platformer at that. Is this coming out? Oh yeah, shit. Oh shit, the fucking artwork's actually slightly off. I'll fix that later. But yeah, Tin head. It's a platformer. It's a really good one, I will say. I do like it, but there's kind of like a really annoying fucking thing about this game. Now, you know, as you can see here, it says for, you know, tintillating? I don't know. Tintillating worlds with 24 super challenging levels, and well, they're not wrong, but the thing is, really, the only thing that really seems to make a level just fucking annoying as shit is that I feel that a lot of times you are blindsided by enemies, meaning that, you know, there's no way in hell you're gonna avoid not getting hit unless you knew that that enemy was there, or, you know, you're just consistently shooting, because, you know, Tin head here shoots like little metal balls, you know, in like 3 directions, up, down, and, you know, just straight ahead of him. You can change the position of where he shoots it with the A button, or really whatever button you configure it to be. And unfortunately, the blindsiding is what kind of makes this game an annoying pain in the ass, because yeah, especially there's no continues at all. Get a game over, that's it. Now, there's a password system, and the password system is really the only way it looks like I'm going to beat this game, you know, to continue from where I left off. But it's like, if you're giving us a password system, what's the point of having no continues? Why not just unlimited continues? It's like what AVGN said in his Frankenstein video. The only time you have to put in a password is if you know, want to continue on, or I guess if you really want to skip ahead. There's no point to have limited continues in a game with a password system. Kid Icarus does not do that, you know? Kid Icarus gives you infinite lives, but if you turn off the game, you have to put in a password to continue if you want to. Tin head, you can still do that, you know, the passwords are definitely more memorable than Kid Icarus, but it's like, you know, just that blindsiding shit is just fucking annoying. You know, it's like, oh, I'm almost at the end. Oh shit, I got killed by, you know, a fucking flying enemy that I couldn't see. Now I have to restart a whole section, because levels are broken into 2 sections, and that's it. There's no checkpoints, because both sections are relatively short, but it's like, goddamn, they really should have ironed that. But I guess if you can really look past it, it's still a mildly good game, but it's like, what the fuck, man? Just, what the fuck? It's still good, but it's like... Anyways, I'm gonna try and spend as much time talking about this Super Mario Maker for the Wii U. Did watch us play on this? You should check it out. Now, obviously, this is a very popular game right now. You know, it's a creation tool. We make levels for good old Mario 1, Mario 3, Mario World, and New Super Mario Bros. U styles. And yeah, what can I say about it? It's awesome. It's a fucking awesome game. You know, in a way, it's like, you know, hey, you like Super Mario World? Well, now you can enjoy Super Mario World infinitely, because, People will create them levels and share it online, and just it's infinite Mario games, not just Mario World, but just infinite Mario games in general, which definitely adds a lot of replay value because there's all kinds of levels to play. Because yeah, I mean there are some like kind of glaring omissions to here, because obviously the biggest annoyance in terms of items missing are the slopes. The slopes. You push down and there's like a sliding physics effect of Mario going down faster and faster, and then he'll like knock down like Goombas or Koopas at the end of the slope. I don't get why the fuck that's not here. That is so like unforgivable. Why couldn't like slopes be here? The slopes, they're in the Mario Maker Smash 4 stage. Why aren't they here? And another thing is that there are some like minor things I kind of have an issue with. Not as big as the slopes, because I think the lack of slopes is probably the biggest problem with Mario Maker. But there are some like things that just really got me pondering. Like in Mario 1, in the Mario 1 style, they'll have those platforms, those platforms that you used, like basically at the end of World 1-2, you know how you have platforms going up and down that lead to your pipe or the warp zone? The platforms are there, but the sprite is completely different. Like, it's a brighter orange, it's a wider sprite, it seems to be a little taller. It's just almost a completely different sprite from what the platforms were. I don't get why they couldn't have just used the same platform sprite. It's kind of another case with the checkpoints. Well, now I'm grateful that the checkpoints are here, and I'm surprised they weren't here since the very start of, when this game was released. But, for one thing, the Mario World checkpoint is not the same Mario World checkpoint as it was originally. It's, it's a flag, like it is in New Super Mario Bros. U and Wii and stuff, but it's like, couldn't they have the original one? Like, is that really asking too much? But then there are missions. Now, back to the missions that kind of bug me. There's no Charging Chuck, there's no Rex, there's no, Rex, the little dinosaur thing from Super Mario World. There's no Koopalings, there's no Ice Flower suit, there's no I almost said raccoon suit, no, what the fuck was it? There's no penguin suit, for the Mario U style. There's, like, really none of that, which is, like, there's so many things missing that could have made this awesome. I mean, it is awesome, don't get me wrong, I shouldn't say that it is an awesome game, but it's like, all these omissions are just questionable. They don't feel like, something that could, potentially work for DLC. No, it actually feels like it should have been there for day one. But, there are some, like, really cool things done with, I think one of probably the coolest thing is that the new level themes. For example, there's now an airship and a ghost house theme for Mario 1, there's a ghost house theme for Mario 3, and there's now an airship theme for Super Mario World. Which I think that's awesome, because they did a great job, creating, like, essentially new levels for games, that are like 20, 30 years old almost. And it's actually, like, just really cool. And the music they did, for those levels also are excellent. Like, they really did a great job with that. I will give them lots of credit. And, they did stay true to a lot of things, visually, it's pretty good. I mean, there are some interesting things. For example, the Bowser sprite for the Super Mario World theme is completely different than what it was in the original game. But to be fair, in Super Mario World, Bowser never had a full sprite because you only saw him in the final battle, and he was always in the clown car, so he never had a full sprite. So it makes sense to make a new customized sprite for Bowser. But, I probably spend more time playing levels than I do, making them. But at the same time, I try to make levels that are kind of resemblant to maybe something you'd see in a Mario game, and not just some crazy, Kaizo level that way too many fucking people like to upload. Which is kind of why I don't clear the expert mode of the 100 Mario Challenge too much. Because expert mode on 100 Mario Challenge is fucking ridiculous. Because, we all have played hard games in our life before, practiced all kinds of hard games, but with expert mode, it's incredibly unpredictable, as to what you're going to get and what's going to happen in the level, because, a lot of people can be dick level designers. But, hey, all I can say is just try to make lots of great levels, get some stars so you can keep the courses online and Nintendo doesn't be complete dicks and remove it, so completely. But, aside from the problems, Super Mario Maker is a fantastic, game, and just, really cool. Buy it.